I know some people might say the Americans are bombing the Houthis, but not only that, and I promise I'll finish on this point. I know I've gone on long on this. When he was asked, Amir Ghalib, I think his name is, when he was asked, but Trump will be worse, and I know you want to go to this point later on. Oh, you know, Trump is going to be worse. How dare you, etc. He made an interesting point. He said, you say that Trump is going to crack down on, quote, anti-Semitism and pro-Palestinian sentiment. What is Biden doing today on the campuses? You say that Trump is going to crack down on Palestinian voices in the media. What's New York Times and CNN doing today under Joe Biden? You say that Trump is not going to allow any voices in the White House in favor of the Muslims and the Palestinians. What voice has Biden allowed in the White House with regards to Palestine that he took seriously in any capacity whatsoever? You say that we will lose all access if Trump comes into power that the Democrats have offered us. What access did that access to the Democrats, what benefit did it give to us now that 240,000 are being slaughtered, still being slaughtered, and the Wall Street Journal reports that the conclusion of the Democrats, the conclusion of Harris is, we now believe there's no hope of a ceasefire before the elections, and we've just given up on it, and we've sent 2 aircraft carriers and troops to the Middle East to make sure that Israel is able to conduct its operation in Lebanon as it wishes. He said, when you say it's going to be worse, explain to me what Trump is going to do that Biden is not already doing. Again, I'm often accused, and I challenge anybody to find any sentence that I've said where I said, go and vote Trump. Yeah. I actually don't believe that's the best course. I believe there's an alternative course, but I'm here just to analyze. I'm not here to give my opinion on this. Yeah. But we'll come to that. But in any case, your question was, do you tell people to endorse Trump? No. Do you endorse Trump? No. Do you tell people to vote to Trump? No. But I understand why this mayor came out and supported Trump.
Right. So let's then talk about options. We have got probably two third-party candidates in Jill Stein, Dr. Jill Stein and Cornel West. And they've sort of come out in favor of the Palestinian cause and very strongly against Israel. And both of them, I believe, have VPs who are Muslims. You've strongly supported the Free Syrians in Syria. And Jill Stein was caught up in this controversy when Mehdi Hassan, during the interview, took her to task on some comments made by the Green Party as an official party that seemed to be endorsing Assad. And in that interview, she looked very uncomfortable. And it seemed like that he had caught her out on a very big issue that a lot of Muslims feel quite deeply about, the impact of the Syrian civil war and how that's killed large numbers of Muslims in the country. How do you place Jill Stein? Is she imperfect? How do we think about voting for someone like that if she does apparently have this track record, which is highly problematic over Syria? Are we weighing up Syria versus Palestine?
I think that, first of all, I just want to correct. It's not the case that I supported the Free Syria Army. I supported the Syrians' right to freedom and dignity and was bitterly upset. And I felt it's very tragic at how their right to freedom was denied by the international powers that set a number of conditions and in the end said, if the Syrians don't fulfill our conditions, we'd rather the Russians come in and bomb Syria into oblivion. But in any case, it's a different point. I think that Jill Stein interview, certainly it appeared like a car crash in the way that Mehdi Hassan attacked her.
Yeah.
My only slight issue with it was, and I don't want to delve too much into intentions, is that I felt that perhaps focusing a lot on that issue in and of itself, while Biden and Harris is committing a genocide incredibly heinous as what Assad committed, perhaps if not worse, I don't want to compare the genocides in and of itself, is a question to be asked in and of itself. But regardless, what was impressive about what Jill Stein did afterwards, and again, it's not for me to endorse anybody, is the way that when community leaders went to her and said, we're really upset about this, she issued a statement the next day in which she called Bashar al-Assad a war criminal, Putin a war criminal, and she added Bush, Obama, etc. The point is, the Democrats who aren't listening to the community over genocide, no matter how much they shout, and they're ignoring them and shutting the doors, won't allow them on stage, leave them sitting outside the DNC for 4 days in the cold and 4 nights, made them doing statements, please just give us a phone call, and they won't even give a phone call. The Democrats are shutting the door in that regard. Jill Stein has opened the door and is willing to come out and, in her words, clarify and say, this isn't the position that I took before, or it was misunderstood. Or let's suppose it was her position. I accept and I'm ready to listen to this community and adapt accordingly. And that's why when you mentioned the point that both Cornel West and Jill Stein have appointed Muslim vice presidents, it showed that these parties are willing to listen. And that's the issue here, in that these parties are willing to listen because they believe there is power in the community.